No. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me about your experience.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, you've had quite a long journey in spirituality, which was mainly mental, right?
Yeah. My whole journey, I would say, was like I had an intellectual take on everything that I did,
Mm?
and I never approached things from the heart. I
Mm.
always wanted to understand, and that led to basically just nourishment for my ego,
Mm-hmm.
acquiring, learning,
Yeah.
improving, becoming.
You remember how whenever a new concept or an idea from some spiritual teacher would be presented to you and you would grasp and understand it, it would feel like you reached a new level of understanding
Yeah.
and seeing the world.
Yeah. Like before, it felt like I was getting somewhere. Like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
I understand this concept, and what can I do next?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought there was a prize somewhere, like some state
Mm-hmm.
of, like, we heard the word enlightenment. Like, what is enlightenment?
Yeah.
Is it something like holy men?
Yeah.
Like, is it like what gurus are in all the time?
Yeah.
The state of bliss? I want that.
We hadn't seen each other for quite a while, like I think 1, 2, 3 years,
Mm.
and correct me if I'm mistaken, but you were like not really busy with it, right? Anymore?
Well, in the beginning, I was really after every video about spirituality I could get, new insights, new ways. I would re-listen to old material just to like have a shift of perspective, or something would
Yeah.
change, because I had a lot of internal suffering from the self, and I didn't know in what place I would fit in, and I was I was disoriented in the world.
How would you describe the suffering that you had?
Yeah, so I never felt, um, I never resonated with anything. Like any place or with any people I would be with, I never felt like I was me.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
never felt genuine. It never felt home.
Yeah.
It was always a feeling of something is missing. That was the main feeling I always had.
Yeah.
Something is missing, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing was missing, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
the belief, I created a certain belief that
Yeah.
something was missing, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So it's up to me to chase after something I don't know what it is. So it's a mystery. So good luck finding it. But you have to start looking somewhere, because if you don't look, you don't find. So you don't know what you're looking for. So start looking everywhere until you find it. And I knew one day, if I found it, I'd feel it 100%. And all the times I had shifts, whatever, I knew it wasn't it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I did an interview with someone who got self-realized, Nargis, and she told me in the interview that before her kundalini awakening, her process was mainly mental, and then after the kundalini awakening, because the energy was active, like the process of awakening, of trying to be present and all of that, it changed, right? So when I heard that, I was like, whoa, this is so, like, I didn't really understand that concept, or didn't really know how that works. So when I reached out to you, like subconsciously, I thought like, I wonder if he will have a kundalini awakening after doing 3, 4, 5 cap sessions. And then I told you this, like what I did after my kundalini awakening, which I had in ayahuasca, I used the energy of awakening to pursue altered state of consciousness, desires, to become free, to feel good. but what was missing, I wasn't like desiring truth. I wasn't going to the truth. Basically, I was going away from the truth into pleasant states, into avoiding pain and having as much pleasure as I could.
But did you have an idea what the truth would entail?
I really had no interest in truth. I had no interest. I had no, like, I knew they like some teachers talked about, like unconditional love and truth, and I knew it was a process of, let's say, releasing, letting go, and just being. But what I really wanted was everything that I didn't experience in my life previous to that, which was freedom of emotions, being cool, being high on energy,
Superpower.
being happy. Yeah, it's like wow, I can now change my states of consciousness and I can feel that. And I got lost in that for years. And when I heard Nargis and she talked about, like, she went 1 year and she focused all her energy on non-duality. So I thought, like, whoa, like that's really interesting. So subconsciously, I wondered if you had done that, but you were not interested in it.
No. Like, you shared some videos that Marcus made with me, and the first thought that came up was, not interested in what she has to say.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. Like, it looked so empty.
Yeah.
Like, she was like literally talking about nothing.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really like raging. Like, what is this shit? Like, I wanna get information, valuable information to transcend myself.
Right.
I wasn't getting it there.
Yeah.
There was nothing they were discussing. Any non-duality video you watch, they don't talk about anything.
Yeah.
And that's like a big problem. That's why the me really resists that.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, that's not for me. Because I want to enjoy, I want to abuse the powers and become much greater than I am now. So I was skipping those videos and just watching teachings and further development of the ego, whatever.
Can you describe your process of doing your first recap sessions and then the later 3 cap sessions?
So the first time we went together to camp, and I was very biased and very doubtful about the workings of this thing, because it was very new to me and I didn't know what is this. Then I showed it to many people, in ordinary, normal people living, working hardworking people, and they would say that this looked like some sorcery or some exorcism. Like, it really looked weird, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So when I was like, no, it looks interesting. I want to see it through, because I always had the mindset of, I'll try anything new and see it for myself. I'm not gonna go off based on people's experiences. I want to experience things myself and then have an opinion for myself, not a general opinion for people, but just for me. Like, this worked for me or this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not gonna work for everyone.
Yeah.
So I went through this.
Good for you.
I went through this. And I was moving, but I felt like I was doing it.
Yeah.
There was movement, there was noise, but it felt so ungenuine. Like, I'm in control, I'm doing it, and this is so fake. I'm a fraud. I'm pretending like it's working because I paid 50 euros for this, so I'm gonna get my money's worth out of this. That if it doesn't come out on its own, I'm gonna do it myself. And actually, it was happening by itself. But the me thought, I'm in control, I'm doing this. I was really convincing itself that it did. But everything was happening by so the movement was in fact genuine. So I was so shocked, because usually people's first times are very quiet, like not moving much. And I was all over the place. It's like all I needed was one session. It was all. It's just the belief wasn't there that I wasn't doing any of it. If I had that understanding, if the understanding was happening, that I had no control and there was no me, and it was just happening by itself, it probably would have been even better the next times.
Yeah.
But because I held on to that disbelief that this happened by itself, and I went into the second time, and I made sure I didn't move, just to prove a point, just to show, oh, you think you moved, it moved by itself the first time, let me show you that there is no movement here. And I also did it, and I didn't move, but I did that. You know, like that was happening, not me was happening, but the me really thinks it's doing things.
Yeah.
I really found peace in that second time, actually. Like, it was very insightful, just the breathing work and everything. Like, I didn't mind it. It's just the me was like, I'm not getting anything out of this. But looking back on it now, it was so good.
And the third
The
session.
third time, the third time, we went to a new camp facilitator. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was very like jumpy, you know, like all over the place, very jolly and happy and like wild. So the way she facilitated was very, I loved it. So she came in and she was doing whatever, the energy was channeling through her. And I really felt this energy in my stomach and was like going up. And as she's doing that, I'm going up too. And then suddenly my body went in this shock mode, and it was shivering like all cells, you know, the feet, everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I doing this? So I was in my head when it was happening. Like, am I doing this? But it wasn't. That wasn't one of me.
Mm-hmm.
But something in me never believed anything. It was like, it's all me. I'm exaggerating. I'm such an actor, you know. Like, I'm exaggerating, like shivering. Can you believe it? Like, I do that. Like, I really believed I did. So I would go home, I would feel the energy speak, and like a lot of built up tension would release, and I wouldn't hold on to thoughts or emotions. If I felt angry, I would show it in that moment. Like, I wouldn't hold it back and be like, oh, this person did this and this to me. Like, in a corner, like, look, I would look at them and actually tell them, like, you're making me very angry right now, or you know, like, just reaction, immediate reaction. It wouldn't build up and take it to the future, you know. It would settle it right there and then. So I felt a lot of that during the days after. But there was some feeling that something was missing, and I wasn't seeing the clear picture. Like, something is happening, but I'm not seeing it. How could I?
I remember the third session when we came in, and she did a demo. So facilitator sometimes does a demo before the session, so she puts on a high level energy song, and then she goes in the room and taps people on the shoulder and just does for 2-3 minutes, just activates their kundalini. And like, you lay down and she was working on you, and I saw like you started to move like this.
Oh,
and I was
the
like,
demo, yeah.
And I was like, he's not doing that. Like, for sure now he feels it.
But
that something is
funny,
happening.
like, in the act of doing that, your body doing that, expressing itself in the act itself, in that moment, I never felt I was doing that. It's only the after lag, or after, you know, the after second, when your mind catches up to what's happening, it thinks, oh yeah, I'm doing that, where it's not true. And there was no separation there. I didn't feel it. But now I do. Now I notice when the thought arises, and I know it's not me. There's no one to think that. It's just happening. And it just filters itself. There is an automatic system now that just takes care of things. I don't have to do anything.
So there was a couple of weeks in between the sessions, and then you did 3 sessions in a row on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. How was that?
It was very spontaneous. It's not like I wanted to do 3 days in a row. But so we went yet again to a very new facilitator. And this time it wasn't as like really active like the previous ones. This one was very not too quiet, but not too heavy. Like, it was just chill. Time went by so fast. And there were some movements, but I felt very uncomfortable because I was opening my eyes. I wasn't taking the session very seriously.
Yeah.
So I was constantly breaking my focus, opening my eyes, looking at the other participants, like peeking, not really like open eyes and like staring, but just like peeking. I was wondering, like I was no longer connected with my process. I sat there, I had nothing to do. It's like, oh, I have not really a question or anything that I want to be answered, or an inquiry, or so I was like, I wonder what the others are doing, and I was very curious. I just wanted to see, and yeah, many different things.
Now you started meditation in between also because you wanted spiritual experiences like I was having, right?
That was the idea,
Yeah.
So before that session, I did a meditation called the invitation, which puts your mind and your thoughts outside this imagined room, and you enter the room empty, without your luggage, and then the person doing this outside guides you into this wonderful meditation.
Yeah.
And you come out and you really feel connected with whatever is happening.
Yeah.
And there is nothing like disturbing any of what's happening. It's really nice to go through that and then go to the cab session. And
it made the session different.
Yeah, very quiet. It's like like that day when I did the meditation, it felt like I didn't need to go to cab even.
Wow.
To the cab session. It felt so like, why? For what?
Yeah.
Like there was nothing in me that was seeking anything.
Was your session good?
Yeah, there was movement, there was play.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much struggle.
There was less attachment and resistance.
Yeah, I'm trying. It was just a very nice blend of quiet moments, a bit of movement, a bit of sound, not exaggerating here and there, not slowing too much here and there.
Yeah.
It was just very ordinary.
Yeah. Do you remember the third session with Florina?
Well, before that, yeah. I think we skipped one because before this, what we just discussed, we went to another one.
Sure.
Yeah, it was only like a very selected few, like 6 people.
Yeah.
And that was also not like when I was in a big group of people. It was very peaceful, very quiet, very. There was not a lot of energy. But my issue is with CAP is I feed on others' energy. Like I take on others' emotions. So if someone is screaming, I take that in.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Like in Florina's session, someone was shrieking, like so loud, and I was so annoyed. Like it hurt my eardrums. You know, like I fed on that. You know, like it baited me in it.
Yeah.
And I remember like this anger was building up, and I bursted in this growl, like really loud, like I wanted to be like shut up, you know?
Yeah.
Because the shrieking kept going, it didn't stop, dude. It was like she shrieks like 6 to 10 times, and then there is the quiet moment, and then she goes again. I'm like, come on, man, I can't. She's like here, you know, my head is here, and her head is next to me, like behind me.
Yeah.
It was a very small room of like 8 people, you know, like don't do that.
Yeah.
The room is so small.
You remember when you opened your eyes and you saw me and the facilitator doing some
Yes, I opened my eyes. Yeah, and I saw you like do this connection thing, like heart to heart thing. And I remember seeing that, and like honestly, you know, like back then I was so jealous. Like, why is he having that moment? Where is my moment? What is this shit? Yeah, I felt like. Yeah, I felt a lot of resistance to just accepting whatever was happening, and everyone has his different emotions and moments, and it's not the same. But I was really comparing a lot, you know. It all fell away, but back then I did really compare and wanted to be that which that guy has, or you know, like why is he having these visions about angels and about God and about light and stories taking him places, wonderful places like Alice in Wonderland, and I'm just here miserable in my own thoughts, thinking, am I moving, am I not moving? Like, but that, if I just focused on that which was mine and just accepted what was happening, that was a lot to learn there.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that you always felt like you were having the, like you were doing it, like it wasn't happening to you.
It happened to me. Like that thought kept happening to me through all 7 sessions.
I had the insight in one of the sessions, like, like I went through mindfulness training, and in mindfulness you learn to center yourself, and you learn to see thoughts and emotions and energy as things passing by. And because of that, you have like this contrast of I am doing something or something is happening. But because you didn't do mindfulness training, you hadn't done that, you didn't have that recognition.
I am such a lazy character in anything that revolves seeking. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do the meditation. I just don't feel the pull. When you feel like it's really necessary for you to get to the next step, I never have that feeling. I had a belief that I could attain, or whatever, just through intellect. If I just focus my own mind and work with what I have and learn and read with what I want to read, I'll get there. I don't need to follow the path of the gurus and whatever that guy followed. That was the only thing that I kept mine. Other than that, I really wanted to be. I wanted I only wanted the candy. I didn't want to work for it.
So did you want truth, or did you want to be special?
I didn't want to be special, because if I wanted to be special, I would dream about experiences only I could have and no one else. But I was comparing, so there's nothing special about I want what you have. It's not special because we both have it. Then if I could, I just thought in whatever you or that person is having, there is some truth. And if I get that, I'll see things clearer. There will be a clarity, and there will be an understanding, a shift, a change, an awakening, whatever you want to call it. I thought if I just get there, because they, like, the way they hold themselves together and the way they express themselves was like, I would put myself lower and put them higher. And I look at that and I look up to that, and it's like,
Now, doing 3 sessions in a week and then doing 3 sessions on consequent days, did you notice a difference?
Like very tired, man. Like so draining. I felt so tired, and my emotions were so peaking. So whether good or bad, doesn't matter. If you have good emotions and good vibes and you're feeling good, it's gonna go that way, and you're gonna feel like it's gonna like give you an extra buff. But if you are feeling down and you're feeling like nothing is working, it makes it worse. So I remember I felt I just wasn't getting it. Something I wasn't seeing, I wasn't understanding. How could I? The me will never understand that part. But there was the me was struggling. Like, there is something I'm not seeing, and I think I'm never gonna see it. That's the thought I had. Like, there is, definitely there is something that I'm just missing, but because I am in whatever I am or think I am, I'll never understand. So my childish part was coming out more and more, and I was very childish, like not accepting reality, not accepting the moment, and I was like, no, I don't want to know about this practice. I don't want to listen to this guy, Ajay Shanti or whatever, talking about karma or whatever. I don't want that. Like, there is something here, and I'm not getting it, and it's upsetting to me, and like I just don't care anymore. And I was really in that state of mind.
And like after the sessions, and after having that build up of emotions, you said at a point like, I'm done with it, I'm not gonna go anymore.
Yeah, I was like, I felt it was very like repeating itself constantly, like this repetitive pattern. Like I was going in circles. I wasn't changing my views on it. I was always thinking that it was not involuntary, that it was voluntary. I was doing it, and that's how, like, how can you blame the ego for thinking that? You know, like, it will never subside to that thought. It will always think that it's in fact in control.
Yeah.
So no matter how many times I would go 30, 40, I would always think, I am me, I am doing this.
Yeah. But you did feel like elated after each session, right? Like,
yeah,
this
but
so
it was
nice.
it was an experience. It was not, it was a state of temporary joy or whatever.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like something was away. It felt like I was just sedated, like with like medicine or whatever.
You also had an inner dance session. How was that like?
It was very normal. It didn't go as planned because there were certain aspects hindering the process.
You did it 2 times.
I think I did it once.
No,
Two
you did
times.
two.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did two
The
times.
first time?
Yes, I did it 2 times. Yeah, both were the same. The first time I laid down. Both sessions were through were an online session, by the way. So the facilitator wasn't present.
Yeah.
But both sessions I didn't move. But the first time was very odd because as I was closing my eyes and really feeling the music and sinking into my body and to the floor and feeling everything and just letting things happen, and I really felt this presence, like it wasn't like ordinary touch, like you know, but it was like a ghost feeling, ghostly feeling, like touching me here, touching me, and I was like really freaked out by that.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the cold of my hand or whatever. I felt something, a little pressure, you know, like this, like on my body and on my neck, especially on my neck, and I was really freaking out. Like, what is this? Like, God? You know, is this the devil? You know, like I'm all alone in my house. So I started like imagining stuff, and like I created basically the hell for myself by thinking that I was like, are these ghosts or something?
Yeah.
And I didn't know. So you facilitated it. I didn't know what you were doing in the meantime while I was laying there. So I was like, okay, I'll just follow along and like surrender to whatever this is and just allow it to happen. And I just like closed my eyes and I was just being absorbed in many stories, and I would like come out of them, focus on my breath again. Like I wasn't forcing them to go away, I wasn't forcing them to stay, but I would like shift my focus back to center and like and I was so peaceful, man. It's like a well-deserved nap. It felt like I was so energized afterwards. Something was shaking. There was some movement. It's like my energy was dancing. I felt I really felt good after that. Yeah, and the second time was a bit less comfortable. I didn't have a yoga mat, so I laid on the floor and my head hurts and my back as well. And I didn't want to make too much noise. It was late at night, and my neighbor is an old man, and he told me like, "Can you please keep it down?" And I was like, "It's fine." You know?
During CAP, some of your habits started to change, right?
Like what?
Coffee, food.
Oh yeah. But I don't think that's like. But at the time, I believe it was CAP doing that. But it was just some energy was awake, I guess, in the body, and there was a natural reaction to that. So basically, let's say in the heart, it was always felt I should stop drinking coffee because I get heartburns when I have too much caffeine, and I knew that. And yet, before CAP, even though knowing it was bad for me and I eventually needed to quit it, I kept drinking it because it was, you know, I was conditioned into my body, and that was my routine. I drank coffee since I was a young kid, so, and I never quit. So I was like, why would I? So I kept drinking that, and I got pills given by my home doctor to reduce the heartburn.
Yeah.
And so I could keep drinking coffee. I was like, what is this? You know, I'm just harming my body and silencing it with like painkillers or you know whatever.
Yeah.
And after CAP, that feeling was more honest. And when I felt I needed to quit coffee, I did it.
Yeah.
It was that simple. I didn't have to think maybe, but I like it. That the attachment of that
Yeah.
was gone.
Mm.
So the actual truth came out. That
Yeah.
I actually indeed, in fact, wanted to quit coffee. And the same thing with like the unhealthy things, because I ate to feel good. So I would feel miserable. So then I would eat to feel better, but instead I'd be fat and miserable. You know, like eating it didn't help.
Mm-hmm.
In the moment of the binging, you feel good. Afterwards, it comes back.
Yeah.
And so, like I weighed like 120 kilos, and I really felt really bad about like my overall physique and my stamina and my performance, and I couldn't just like during camp I couldn't even sit in a lotus, or I know it doesn't matter, but I wanted
do the bridge.
I couldn't do anything, you know. And
at a certain point you wanted to do the bridge.
yeah, man, I remember because the facilitator said,
yeah,
through the energy, some people get to do some yoga poses and they will do it perfectly without even having tried them once.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah, let me try that once. And I did it, and my back hurts as I'm doing it. I'm like, oh no, you know, I got cramps in my back because of my weight, and I fell.
Yeah.
I'm like, she lied, man.
Yeah.
It was such a funny thing. Yeah.
So your communication, your relationship also started to become more honest, and you were expressing your truth more.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've always been brought up in a religious family.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very religious. And I never felt the connection between my heart and the religion. Because I had questions. And questions in religion is not something that they appreciate. Because because religion is like, let's say it's in this box. And if you have a question outside of the box, it's not welcomed. Because now you're challenging the belief system. And if you challenge the belief system, you're deviating from the path of religion, and you're becoming unreligious.
Yeah.
So that was really like any question that would arise in young kids or young people about like what is God, they would like neglect it or tell you a fake story to shut you up because they know you would want to understand. And I couldn't have that. Like I would take it, their answer, but I was never satisfied. And so life just took me in a direction where I took distance from my belief system I grew up in. But there was this core thread, I guess, that's always been kept alive.
Yeah.
So in case I was wrong, or I thought I was wrong, I would follow it back.
Yeah.
And I, for the love of God, couldn't cut it and just release myself from it. And there was a fear because though I have a wife and I live alone now, I still visit my parents, and they try to ask like, are you praying? Do you fast? Do you do this? Like religious oriented stuff. And I would lie. I would say, yes, of course I am. What do you think I am? You know, like you brought me up well. Of course I am. But that was so dishonest, and I would feel it afterwards. Like the backlash of that lie. I would feel the guilt, and it would consume me when I'm alone. And that went on for years and years and years. And then after CAP, that feeling of guilt just went away. And when they asked me, like it was also the fasting period, and they asked me if I was fasting, and I said no, this huge shock factor came into play. And they were like, what, are you not fasting? And you haven't fasted for, I'm like, yeah, I ate all of it. Why? Because I wanted to. And then a whole argument, a whole new chapter of problems was created. But it felt so good. Like the relief and the honesty, because even though the only sad thing I'd say is these people who are so in tune with their belief system are suffering because of something outside of themselves happened that they don't accept. Like, you know, their son committed the biggest sin inside the religion. So the biggest sin is to be a disbeliever, and but the way they handle it is like, I am against belief system, and I go on in churches or in mosques telling people belief system is bad, don't do it. Like, I don't do that. Like, it's not like I'm against it, it's just, it's not for me.
Yeah.
There should be an acceptance there. Because when they meet a European person outside when they are shopping, they accept them for what they are, right?
Yeah.
But because it's their son, and they conditioned him in certain ways, and it didn't grow into fruition, they're really angry at themselves, really. Like, we didn't do a good job, we failed, look at him. Yeah, so in me, there was no attachment. My mom was crying, basically, I remember. And I didn't feel any ounce of like regret or guilt. Like, my siblings did blame me, like, you made our mother cry, why did you do this? I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like, what do you expect me to do? Do you want me to lie and tell them I'm still doing that? Like, for whose purpose am I doing this? So that she is happy and I'm miserable? Like, it doesn't make sense.
You also did 2 coaching sessions with me, transpersonal coaching. Did you feel like that had any impact on your process? Because it was all about inner child work.
Well, everything, like, till this moment, everything has an impact in some way. You know, because this is your story, you know, like the unfolding and everything. So everything that led up to now, you work with that material that you get.
How did that coaching affect you, if at all?
I guess there was a unsettling feeling before that process, where my shadows would, like, really be active in me when I'm near my parents, and I wouldn't dare anger them or dissatisfy them in any way, so I would play the good boy kind of, you know, role.
Goody.
Yeah, like, even though I wasn't, like, I was lying to them, but I would, in that moment while I was in, because I was like, I'm here on a visit, I'll leave and go back to my house, they don't know what I'm doing there, I'll just play a role here so that they are happy and I don't get any trouble, and I could just be peacefully living among them, and there wouldn't be any trouble, you know. That was about my thought process. So I would, there was a like kind of fear that if I said the wrong things, they would get very upset, like telling them that I'm not religious. So I would really, like, have my heart go fast if I approaching certain topics that I knew wasn't religious, and I would hold back on them. I don't say them. And after I did the exercise and I worked on my inner child, and and I got to speak with my version of my dad and mom and everything. There was a like, not fully understanding, like, there was an understanding that whatever I saw them as was a projection that I made inside of me, and they are nothing like that to begin with. So after understanding that, it like, after going through that process, it like, there was an automatic system in your body that, like, put things into place.
You become aware of the unconscious.
So when I met them, I was like feeling less resistance and less fear, and I would like walk up and just feel like I'm one of them. It's nothing to be afraid of, you know. Then people, I'm people. Some, like, I know there's a dynamic here. You know, you're the father part, but outside of that, it's just
you're a human. I'm a human.
So that did help in that way. So
after all your cap sessions, I remember it was a day where you really felt fed up, and it was like rationally you had reached the edge of what you could understand, and you was like, it's not working, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
And I remember we were calling, and I felt your story. You were telling me your story, and it was so heavy, and I felt like how dense it was. I felt it like, oh, he's really struggling with this part of his story. And then we like, I was on the phone with you, and I was like, go into your heart and just say, if there is a God, I ask for his help now. Yeah. You said that 3 times, and we said it together. And then I didn't hear anything from you again. But the next day, all of a sudden, you called me, or the day after, and something had happened. Tell me about that.
Well, that heart thing is so bullshit. Like nothing, you know.
Okay.
Like I didn't even consider it as a factor in whatever, because it's a belief system. If you know.
Sure.
It may, like, the inquiry may have activated something in the body, but it's totally unrelated to God. Okay. Or whatever. Okay. So yeah. So after that inner struggle, I was just done with everything, and I was like, I had some tabs open of spirituality and all that, and I closed them off. Just started listening to music and watching series, and I was just like, I'm done, you know, like angrily watching series, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember I smoked a blunt.
Yeah.
Because I have been smoking once in a while for months, so I was like, you know, like, I'm just gonna chill, and like take it easy and just like retreat and come back another time.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm feeling. There's this childish thing that's happening, like stamping on the floor like a kid and not getting thing.
Yeah.
Just time out, you know, like. Let it go for a moment, chill, and just do some fun things. And if you want to come back later, you know. The seeking is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So spontaneously, my hand and my mind, I clicked on some tabs, and I opened a video of Tony Parsons.
Yeah.
Talking about non-duality. I don't know why I picked him. It was just whatever, you know, like, okay, I felt the state of, okay, I'll feel like watching a video, and I opened that one, and I had no idea what it was about. So it was a total surprise, you know. Life gave it to me when I was needing it, I guess. And yeah, really, my ego was liking that, like. Some new insight, huh? So I watched like a 2-hour video of his doing a satsang or whatever in Amsterdam, and there was like this dynamic of understanding this but struggling with this, and my ego couldn't believe his eyes and ears as this person is talking about dissolving me. Like, I disappear? What are you talking about? I thought the whole process was about me attaining stuff and becoming enlightened. What are you talking about? There is no place for me.
Yeah.
I was so like really like intrigued, and at the same time, I have not, like, some people, they have a self that is really afraid of dying and resists to any change and dissolving. I didn't have that. I'm very suicidal, not like in a literal sense. Who knows? But like mentally, I don't mind if I die.
Yeah.
I'm just, because I did Bufo. I think that's why.
Yeah.
After I did the
5 MEO.
5 MEO, and I had the death experience.
Yeah.
something in me disappeared, like the fear of dying itself.
Yeah.
So watching that was very interesting because this guy's talking about the concept of non-existence, and there is nothing to begin with, and the dream state we live in, and this apparent happening that's here doing its thing, and it's like whoa, so much new material. So I watched that very intellectually, trying to grasp what this guy's talking about. I didn't try really, because everything he said was constantly registering. I didn't have to like really like.
It's so obvious.
Yeah, it was so obvious, but very disbelievable. You know, like what? Unbelievable. Like I'm just like, it's always been here. What am I? Why the fuck am I seeking then? Why am I making myself feel miserable and thinking, no, it's not working? There's nothing to work to begin with. So watching that, there was a shift, an understanding, perspective shift. You know, like I understood it in the mind, but I didn't feel it in the heart. So I understood it, and I could talk about it, but it wasn't from direct experience. It was just from what I watched and I understood. And it really registered, because what I understood, I felt it, but it wasn't deeply integrated in my daily life. So it was no way of knowing if whatever I was discussing with people is something that I actually is happening now in this body. There was no knowing that. No way of knowing that. So I was like there was a very weird feeling happening there, like something went quiet like instantly. In the following days, there was, it's like you have a guest over, and they stay for a while, and then one day you wake up in the morning and you make coffee, you think, oh, they're still here, and then you notice like, and they left somewhere in the night or whatever, they left. And you're like, what? It's like, wow, like they didn't only leave, they were never here. You just imagine that someone came into your house and you gave hospitality. And because of believing that, you really made an imaginary friend, and you created a person, and you start interacting with them. And then you wake up to something, wakes up to that, and it's like, whoa. Like all along I was just chasing empty stuff. So yeah, that was happening. That was very interesting, and I wasn't really holding on to it like, oh hell yeah, we got something now. I knew you were for sure.
I noticed it when you called me. There was a lightness in the way you spoke. There was a clarity, and I was like, whoa, something feels different about how he speaks. Something in him has shifted. I didn't know what it was, but I felt it. I felt the way you spoke.
Well, that feeling was also there because from memory, I remember that back then when I understood things intellectually, and I would like be a fraud and pretend like I integrated all of it, and now I am that state of mind, I would have a different way of speaking. It wouldn't resonate with what I was discussing, the way it was brought up. But this time it was like coming so naturally. There was no one saying anything.
That's what I felt. It was flowing.
But for sure, the first days after that shift or awakening, whatever, that feeling was all about non-duality. It was still wrong because it was ignoring the duality parts of life, this apparent happening. It was only like the no one is here, the nothing is happening, but there is still an apparent thing happening in this dream. There is still life going on, and nothing changed, nothing ever changed. It's just you made yourself believe something. So I was like, I should tune more into that. Like I didn't say I should tune more into that, but this feeling was feeling that thought. And I started taking both sides of the coin. I was like just living and going for a walk, and just suddenly my view was very wide, and I was noticing all these things. I didn't have to look to see. It was seen.
I remember we went to a gathering of Toastmasters before that event and after. And the first time you were so nervous, trembling, and you hardly spoke. And then the second time after your shift, we went there, and all of a sudden there was still nervousness, but you were present. You were speaking. It was all just flowing, and I was so surprised how in a matter of 2 weeks there was a big difference.
Yeah, because I remember some people there that saw me the first time. They were also pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Like, you came last time, huh? I'm like, yeah. And this was still before the, let's say, final stage, I guess, of the awakening. It was still the second time I went, I was still in the headspace of understanding it intellectually.
Yeah.
It was understood.
Yeah.
It had to be integrated.
Yeah.
And really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was still. I did feel the physical aspect of when you are under threat, or when you're in survival mode, your body will still react. It has nothing to do with the self. It's just a normal or instinctive feeling. So I felt the heart race, like, oh, it's my turn to perform. It was, but it was very. There was a very peaceful look on it. Like, it was racing, but it was inside here was very calm. But there was the adrenaline, I felt it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a feel like, oh no, how will I do?
Yeah.
Will I make it? Will I do it well? Will I perform well? Will people look at me certain ways?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went through it, and I surprisingly did times 3 the normal amount of last time's speech. Because we had a speech, and last time I did like 30 seconds because I was really shaking, and I didn't know what I wanted to say, and I didn't understand the exercise really, because I was new, like first time. So if I went second, I would have had a glimpse of what the first person would do, and then mimic that and bring my own material into it. I didn't know what was expected. So obviously the fear was but the second time I still didn't know what I was, because I went first again, thanks to you, and it was much easier to understand the assignment this time, because it was a simple assignment than last time. Last time I had to sell a certain role to the audience. This time I had to do the same, but there was a theme, a general theme for everyone who was participating. So yeah, it was really nice. It was so fun.
How did your experience change? Like how you were before the shift happened and after the shift, and your relationship also with people around you?
Well, first of all, there is no shift. There is just what is. And I know you don't like me saying these things, but first there was someone thinking they could perceive things, and now there is no perceiver. There's nothing here to perceive anything. So there is no. You can't compare both sides.
But I mean, before the energetic shift happened, because there is an energetic shift, you were experiencing yourself and your story and your problems as real, and you felt the heaviness and the density of it all. And then after the energetic shift, during the talk or the days after the talk, the heaviness or the density was gone, and so the experience wasn't the dense energy contracted anymore, but there was just like it was.
I don't know what you said, but like in terms of my wife, I think that's the easiest thing, because she lives here. Before there was this resistance to accept her for what she was. Trying to change her. A more fitting person for my lifestyle, getting quickly angry if she upsets me in some ways. Sure, that was all happening. but it's not different than now. Like that can still happen. It's just now there is nothing that holds on to that. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
All of the anger and all of the emotions and sadness can occur still.
Yeah.
It's just now there is nothing here anymore that can hold on to that and dissect it and like me and I'm hurt. So if she screams at me, I'm just like unwavering, unchanged. I just look at it and I'm like, are you done?
Yeah.
And then like what I try to do is like, why are you angry? And like try to work with her on her feelings, because there is nothing here that's feeling any resistance or anger towards that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it happens when the physical body just feels angry and reacts to it, but it ends there where it started.
Right.
So it expresses the anger and done. It doesn't hold to that anger like it's part of me, I am angry. No. Just anger is happening.
Yeah.
It's expressing itself. She understands it now. I told her like whatever is happening, like you shouldn't really grab it and make it yours and take it with you throughout the day. And that was happening a lot.
Yeah.
Because you identify with that anger, with whatever feeling, fear, doubt. So I would like my ego would do that. Take it with it, and like hold it like a kid, you know, like this is mine.
Yeah.
I am feeling this.
I want to ask something about this. So you're basically telling your wife, don't get attached to what just happened, detach from it, right? But like back then, when you were still identified as yourself, well, if somebody told you detach from that, sure, you could use techniques to detach or to look from another perspective, but you couldn't really detach.
You can't do it. No.
Because now it's not like you're doing detaching, it's just happening and it doesn't stick.
Yeah. But going through these methods does show you a perspective.
Yeah.
So people say, oh, so if anything is happening anyway, why are we seeking? It's that seeking that's like getting you to that whatever it is, you know, to the truth, to the trust of whatever is happening.
Yeah.
So it's by working that hard and suffering and going through the loop of life and knowing that whatever you do, you will never get it.
Yeah.
And you never will. And that triggers something in the body, in the mind, I don't know what it does. And it makes you seek, like I will, because the mind is that stubborn. It wants to prevail, it wants to get there. And in that journey that's going, it will learn the truth of what it actually is. So if you quit and you say, stop seeking, you basically gave up and you did this, you didn't really quit, you just fed your ego a wonderful story of like, I don't believe in any of this shit, you know, I'm already complete.
Yeah.
So
do you think CAP helped you in your process of
well, I don't know the inner workings of CAP. I don't know how processes are taught and people have learned everything, but I heard from many people and from you and from internet questions that I asked towards people that did CAP too, and they said that it does awaken this life force energy, because kundalini is just another word for life energy, and everyone has it. And I was like, if everyone is saying this, and it's not just agreeing blindly, there must be some truth in it. And I felt it too. So I didn't actually feel that surge of energy like going up and down my spine through the chakras. I didn't feel that visually or felt it like in my body. But the way I understood it is through the daily life changes that I was undergoing, and through that I was like, yeah, something is definitely happening. I would have loved to feel that, like whoa, it's going up and but I never did. I guess this body is not equipped to do that.
Can still happen.
I don't know, who knows.
So how has your life now changed after the energetic shift?
Nothing changed in my life. Still go to the same warehouse job I have. Still do the same things. I guess what it does is it supports you 100% with whatever is happening. 100%. It doesn't make you feel guilty. It doesn't make you feel sad. It doesn't make you feel like doing those things. Of course, you can still feel sadness if sadness happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like unnecessary sadness just because you want to get out of something.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But when you genuinely feel like this place is not for me anymore, like there is this sense of wanting to change directions. It can happen. You can have that.
Are you happy now?
I'm happy when I'm happy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look back at it to Amin before having the energetic shift, would you say that it's worth it having it, the energetic shift?
Yeah.
Why?
Man, it's like the ultimate, how Parsons says it, laziness. You just do whatever is presented.
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever comes on your way, you take it, and it's like you live in that moment to moment every day. And time is just a background thing now. And like I look at my clock when I wanna, go to work, whatever.
And I noticed that a lot more things that you were maybe suppressing or denying are expressing themselves more in your life, like with your job, with what you want to do with your life, with
yeah, like right now there's just this energetic feeling that wants to just share and do more, and in the current job I have, that is not like really welcome.
Yeah.
Because they'll consider you crazy.
Yeah.
And no one really asks for it. So why would this start blabbing about kundalini or whatever to people who just want to do their work, honest work, and go home to their wives? And there's nothing wrong with that. So it's not up to this to start whispering it to them. If it's not welcome, it's not welcome. That's what it is. And through that, there is a feeling still that like it wants to express and communicate. So it's looking for a different medium to do that. Because there it's not welcome. Okay, fine. It's totally accepted. Yeah. And now it's looking like navigating like a compass. Like, where can I go? Where is it?
So if before you had the feeling that you were behind the driving steering wheel of your car, of your life, how is it now?
Cruise control.
Cruise control.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's self-driving car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. There is no one driving the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no one knows where destination is going or what path it will take.
Yeah.
There's no sense of I wonder where it's taking me, what is the next level, where am I going with this?
I wonder, would the you 3-4 years ago been open to this message of non-duality, and would it have impacted you?
3-4 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because everything happens when it happens, and this happened to like that moment, and the me never saw it coming.
Yeah.
Never in a million years. And something. It's like being, let's say, in a game. The witch is twisting your reality, and then you wake up, and then you understand, like, whoa, all of that was just a dream, basically. Because
I so liked it when I had my own stories and things from my visions and my own relationship issues. Like sometimes I talk to you, and you sometimes so clearly said like how it was. I was like, whoa, because I'm so sucked into the story of whatever's happening, I didn't see it that clearly, and I was surprised that all of a sudden I was like, whoa, he's being so clear. He's really like telling me what it's really all about. Yeah, and a part of me was almost like triggered, like, oh my god, he surpassed me. Oh my god, he he has gone beyond me. And I was like, So I had that resistance initially, but then I was like, okay, now I can learn from him, and I can
Word.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really nothing special. It's just a truth that you never wanted because the you never wants it anyway. That reveals itself because the you thinks there is a truth that only applies to him. Like he thinks of a certain truth, a self-made truth that he will eventually see. He doesn't know what it is, but he thinks that there is a truth there, very, very nice and very beautiful, very luminous truth, and it's gonna turn me into a beast. You know, like I'm gonna become something very nice. But the actual truth, the me would never love it. I would never understand it, and it will never experience it and see it. So that's why when you see as a me, you see these non-duality videos. It's like, no, it's like the devil itself. No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to listen to people who have these messages. And it's just,
I remember at some point I started to watch the videos also because I was like, oh, Amin had a breakthrough. I'm gonna watch it as well. And I was watching it for a day, and while I'm watching it, all of a sudden, like something in me feels like it's almost like being sucked in a black hole. Something is like shifting, and it feels so scary because I realize it's like there's a deconstruction of the reality that I'm in, and it's like it's being turned upside down, and it feels very uncomfortable. So I stopped the video. I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this. So I stopped it, and I was like I'm losing my enjoyment of life because he's deconstructing everything. He's he's talking about how people who are spiritual, they just seek a higher self.
But the issue here is you have a certain group of people that are all about duality and attaining and becoming and enlightenment,
the higher self.
And then you have also a group of people that are all about non-duality and non-existence, but it's neither. Both sides are wrong. It's both things. It's one thing. It's not. It has never been separate. There was nothing there was no duality or non-duality. There was just one. Some say singularity because it's one thing. It's just one happening in the other, and simultaneously the other happening in the other. You know, it's like through your eyes you're seeing the world. The world is happening inside you, and you're inside the world itself. It's just that paradoxical, and it's very hard to understand. And I didn't understand it intellectually at that moment. It just was understood.
Yeah. And now there's this great thing that I know because I've had those shifts where I was in that state, or where the me was gone, where things are just happening, appearing as they are, and whenever an unconscious pattern is observed in you, it's like almost an intelligence automatically recognizes it like an antivirus, and it immediately does whatever is needed with it, and it dissipates, or it doesn't have this drive or this power.
Yeah, there's just
so beautiful. You don't have to do it. You don't have
if we had energy that we, let's say it's a currency, and we spend it every time we are emotional or unnecessarily like jealous, or now it doesn't have the money and it can't spend anything. It's just
your energy is being conserved.
Yeah, conserved, and it can't even spend it.
Yeah.
Because there is no one to spend it on.
Yeah.
So it's just the energy is just conserved, and it's.
You feel more more energy, right?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Of course, after a day's work.
Yeah.
My body's tired, but my mind is always.
Yeah, fresh.
Yeah, it's always there. It's always in that moment, like peak performance. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huh.
I can look tired. My eyes can look tired, and I can, like, I remember at work I was very awake inside my head, but my face and my body was like this.
How has your relationship with your wife changed, and how has she taken this new shift?
Because her father was also like he was into literature, like writing, and I was also. He always she didn't understand because she was 12 when he died. So before that, from birth till 12, she saw her father always busy in books, and like he loved to listen to Mozart and all the music stuff. And he was always. She's like like when I see you, you remind me of the way he was. Like I don't remember how he was, but it feels like this connection. and she believes, that's her belief, that
Yeah.
that he was also seeking, and he was
Yeah.
also, so somewhere in her there's the understanding, and she also feels like she's a seeker,
Yeah.
and she wants to work on herself, and like she has issues with like controlling her anger,
Yeah.
and like we work on that together, like
Yeah.
and yeah.
I mean, in terms of how you were relating to your wife before the shift, how you were manipulating, lying, doing things.
Well, before the
and
shift,
now.
I was trying to hold her as close as possible.
Yeah.
There was a fear that was that I would lose her.
Mm.
There was a fear that I wasn't satisfying her as a husband. A fear that I wasn't doing enough. That was unworthy. Like, does she really love me, or is it just something out of fear to be alone? Because I was feeling that. And after the shift, or whatever you call it, there was just this sense of letting go, and not even letting go. There was a nothing there to begin with, and it just, the way it played itself was like, I was very honest with her, and I sat with her and we talked, and I was like, if you ever feel uncomfortable with the way that, and I said so that she understands that I'm behaving, like I don't hold you accountable for anything, and if you feel like this is not for you, and you have this urge to leave me, then that's like you chase your happiness.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing anything for me, really. You need to do it for yourself, and if this is not for you, why would you forcibly stay with someone that's not meeting the criteria that you want to please yourself in? So I was like, and she's like, no, it's not that. Of course it's hard, and she's a trooper. She doesn't give up. She's not like very quickly to be like, I'm gone. She believes in true love, and she wants to work things out, and I like that, and that's just how it's happening. It's fine. But there is a less attachment, because before CAP, I remember she was so upset with me going to CAP and coming back in the middle of the night or 1 a.m. And now she's like, it's fine, like you can go, you can do whatever. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm sorry for using the words manipulating and lying. I didn't mean like that.
Well,
like
no,
that.
Like I understand. It's not no problem.
It's, I guess, what I do with my partner.
Well, I did manipulate before.
Yeah.
And I did lie. I would lie to
But
her.
we do it unconsciously.
Yeah, and certain things. Look.
Yeah. Out of our own fear.
If I guess if she would ask the right questions, there is no doubt that I will tell her the truth. But if the questions aren't asked, there's no reason for this, whatever it is, to say anything.
Yeah.
So you could call it lying, you could call it hiding the truth. It's just what's happening.
Yeah.
The body still reacts, still does things. So yeah, like with my parents, when they asked me, "Are you religious?" I said no, and I would have never in a million years have said that, because that fear was so strong. Me not believing, like God is gonna punish me. It was none of that. I felt so peaceful saying that.
There's if you listen to Alan Watts, he says the ego, it's like a habitual contraction. It's like me. Do you feel that there's no me contracting anymore in you whenever something's happening to your body or in your life?
Like what?
Like,
oh yeah, no, man.
Yeah, like that.
No.
Like before, it would be like, oh, this happened.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, any situation that would feel unpleasant, I would feel it in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I would hold like this, and then only breathe in my lungs, and my stomach would be so contracted, and there was no flow.
Yeah.
I would block something.
Yeah.
Because I was uneasy, feeling very uneasy. And afterwards, it's just, it's like, man, it's so good, like to just let go and not give a damn about any situation. And once I stopped doing that blockage, this breathing would just fall into my lungs and go out, and it feels so natural, man. I was struggling so much doing that. I was blocking everything. It's like gasping, like stopping your breathing.
What's like your wish for yourself and for the world?
No wish. What would I wish for?
Or your intention, or how do you relate to yourself or to the world?
I don't know. I don't know what you're asking me. Because, if anything, yeah, it's just there's this communication that wants to share experience or whatever it went through, and hopefully someone is something with it or not. It doesn't really care.
Would you say to people who want to get enlightened that this non-dual stuff is worth it? And what path would you recommend to them to get it there as fast as possible?
I have no idea, man. Because I told you, I never did the work, I never did anything.
Yeah.
And I was so lazy to do anything because I really didn't want to do anything. It's not that I was lazy. It was because when you're lazy, you want to do it. It's just you're lazy. But I wasn't lazy even to that. I just didn't want to do it, honestly. Because I was like, that's just something I'm attaining. Because I understood that concept of me just attaining and but the body goes on afterwards and apparently does things, and there are conditioning still in the body. So if you used to smoke cigarettes and you really enjoy smoking cigarettes, not because of stress, because if it's because of stress after smoking, after the shift and the falling away of the self, maybe the body will experience the addiction of the nicotine, sure, and you can continue smoking. Maybe you just enjoy smoking in general, like I enjoy smoke. I really enjoy it. It's not, I don't care about the nicotine that's in it or anything. I just enjoy smoking this thing, and that's continued. So I just like it. But like with the unhealthy food, I disliked it and I wanted to actually quit. It's just I couldn't.
Yeah.
So once that fell away, the all the cookies and all the stuff, I never bought it again. Like certain areas, like events, like let's say someone is birthday and they give me cake, yeah, I eat it. There's no guilt, there's no nothing. It's just in my daily life, that's gone. But I still consume it, I still eat, I still drink, I still.
So you wouldn't say to people like
just do whatever you're doing.
Like get acknowledged with Eckhart Tolle, his work, then do CAP, then go into non-duality.
Honestly, what worked for me is just to have an open mind for everything. And not close and have judgment about anything until you experience it. Because all my judgments that came about CAP was after I did them. I never had judgment before them. I remember I was like very curious and very spontaneously wanting to go to this thing and was very optimistic. So just be optimistic, learn new things, read, watch new things, be very open, don't resist and be like that's not for me. Because I did that with non-duality, and I pushed it away for so many. But eventually, you just take it all in, because the moment you start working against what your ego wants itself to do, you see because that's very unknown. The unknown, you don't want to reach that. I don't know that. I need to taste it. I need to dip my toes in that water to see if it's cold or not before I jump in.
So if there's somebody now watching us, what would you like to tell them, or what arises that you would like to share with them?
If you're seeking and you're really struggling, that's good. Keep following that rabbit hole. Keep keep struggling, keep suffering. Just go all in. I'm not saying commit suicide or anything. I'm just saying stay with the feeling of that sadness or whatever. Because it happens either way.
Then when you're ready, go and listen to non-duality talks.
It doesn't. Some people I read they read non-duality and they never.
But do CAP before to activate your kundalini.
I think that's important because you told me any person who had a breakthrough, or a shift or an awakening, had to activate their life energy first. Really let it dance, waken it. It's dormant. And once that, it's like a door opens up, anything can flow in. I think if anyone is really serious about finding the truth, or not finding the truth, because they will not be there to witness it. If anyone is serious about dissolving the self, they should do cap first.
With some people
Or
I
inner
know,
dance.
they get an energetic kundalini awakening spontaneously. They get it spontaneously through consciousness work or
Well,
through some
with
life
inner
event.
dance is the same thing, right?
Mm.
Some people can actually just like
Yeah.
like that, some neat
Yeah.
stuff. Is it like a talent in the body that people have?
I don't know.
Because I can do that.
I don't know.
Well, I don't need it, but you know, like back then, I wish I like. That's why I was so upset, because this person was doing light sounds
Light language.
and light language and making beautiful melodies, and I was swept in it, and I felt it in my heart. I was in love with with whatever they were producing, and they never did it. That was but the me is all about I want to do it, so it never works. It never works.
So
Because even with you, all the things, visions you never actually did any of that.
yeah.
You never did. But the me listening to you speak about these things, I'm like, he's so in control. He's speaking about these things from experience, and experience meant to me that the self was doing the experience. The self was creating these experiences for itself. And if the self in him can do that, why can't the self in me do that?
Yeah.
But you weren't. That was the misconception. You were never doing any of it. It
Like
was so funny to
the
me
way
when,
I now see it. It's like
when that was understood.
it's like it's just all arising, and it's either to learn or to grow from, or maybe it's 5D reality that wants to be manifested in 3D reality. I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, I'll just say something about going through lifetimes of seeking and still not. You know.
Yeah. Well, what's in the future for you? What are your plans for the future?
I have no clue. If I was a writer and I was writing a story of Amin, and I was just improvising and writing a fantasy, I would say Amin is a guy who was always about giving, and really interested in others' paths rather than himself, and just wanting to connect with people, and relate with them in their day-to-day stories, and maybe share some memory from the past that he also experienced. And really interested in the different flavors of people's lives, and wanting to be of service and give anything back to this apparent life that we are living, because in this dream reality we were given a body, and that's a blessing here in this realm, whatever, and just to give back, it's the same as being buried and the soil takes back.
I wonder, will you take on the role of speaking? Will speaking happen? Will you do healing work? Honestly, or cap work?
Even before seeking, I never liked delegating and telling people what to do, because in my job they asked me to do that, and I said no. I'm rather a negotiator kind of character that just supports, guides, and works with the people, instead of telling them you should do this, okay, you stand there and do that today. I never resonated with me, and it didn't feel pleasant. I'm not a leader. I'm a diplomat. Like I navigate the path for the people, and I walk with them through it. It's just, I don't stand behind and tell them go.
So,
and if this body's ever having a certain skill to work with energy, like that would be lovely.
I said healer. I don't know why I said healer. I didn't mean healer. I meant somebody who works with energy or
Well, not really do the energy work. But like if the energy itself wanted to go through me and guide the people, I would be very open to that.
Yeah.
You know, this is very open to that, and I wouldn't mind a bit of it. Like
Okay.
So it's similar to what the camp facilitators are doing. It's just it feels very home like when you're in camp or satsang or listening to a YouTube video of a satsang, you feel close to the source, you feel close home. It feels very nice, really good feeling.
I understand.
Yeah.
What teachers made the biggest impact on you?
All of them. So starting with the first person I listened to was like every people that have Eckhart Tolle, Muji, Adyashanti, Benito Massaro, I can't speak his name well, Nargis, Tony Parsons, Jim Newman, Hans Laurentius, some monks on YouTube that like I have a lot of monks that are making YouTube videos. And Alan Watts for sure.
Great. Thank you. Last thing I want to say, I don't know why I want to say, but
you can.
I had no right to say lie or manipulate in the relationship.
There's something.
And I said it, and I just wanted to say I had no right to say that, so I apologize for saying that.
Yeah, but but I do notice this pattern in you. It's very new. Like the last 1 or 2 weeks, this pattern is very.
It is
repeating constantly.
It is.
And there is no need for you to do that. Whatever was said has been said. You don't need to backtrack it. You don't need to feel like there is a responsibility on you to say or not say or quote or misinterpret what you read or said or heard somewhere, and you want to share it, man. If it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because there is this urge to say it. You shouldn't feel like you need to take it back.
Great. Last thing I want to say is, before your shift, energetic shift, I'm calling it energetic shift because that's what that's the term Nargis used.
Nice.
It's like there is an energetic shift from contracted energy to boundless energy.
Yeah.
And so there was like a moment where we did a chakra reading, and your chakras were very like in a very particular way.
I don't know how long the period between the two was.
A couple of weeks.
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. And then we did another chakra reading afterwards, after your energetic shift, and it was very different. And for me, it was so fun to see the difference.
Yeah, like, in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here there's nothing here that's really excited about what you read or said. But it's so funny that you see these things. So only in you. So it can never be captured or filmed or shown to the people that it's actually something, a real phenomenon happening.
Yeah. Unless scientists have a method by which they can connect to the brain and they can see the visuals that are appearing in the mind's eye.
I know, but they can't do that yet. Or I don't know, like this is the reality now, and they don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's like the credibility of it is questioned. Like, is it actually only something you're projecting? But then again, you're not really doing that. But you are entering a mode, a higher state of consciousness to perform that. So it's like, there is a me still in there doing.
Yeah. So.
But it's nice. I like it. It's like a nice story,
We're gonna do an inner dance session in a while. Are you looking forward to it?
Sure.
That's the spirit. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for this video.
Yeah.